Looking for hints and tips for long car journeys for children and your family? Well, today that's what it's all about. Hi, I'm Paul from Run the Robsons, where we believe that caravan time is family time, and caravan time brings freedom, whether it's a motorhome, a caravan, or camping, or even going on a long day out with your family. We're a family of 5. We have 3 children of different ages. We all know exactly what it can be like when you go on a car journey and you haven't got enough to keep them entertained and keep them occupied. Quickly you get mum, or dad, which can be quite distracting while you're trying to drive, or can be a little bit stressful and add to the experience in a bit of a negative way of your long journey. Or even worse, if you've got a few children like us with 3 children, very often it then descends into arguments between the children about who wants what and who needs what first. So here we're going to give you some hints and tips about keeping your children occupied while on your long car journey to reduce the stress for everybody and to make the experience a much more pleasant one. So tip number 1 is about making the car more a little bit like your home, making it comfortable for your children. That might be taking blankets, pillows, travel pillows, their toy from home. If you've got a younger child, you might want to try to persuade them to have a bit of a nap, because again, younger children get a little bit agitated in the car, and if they're screaming all the time, and we've all been there, it's not the best experience you're trying to drive on a long 3, 4 or even maybe a 7-hour journey with your children. Tip number 2. Make sure you bring snacks and drinks along for your children to keep them occupied, because they often get hungry as you go on, even when there's no need for them to be hungry. Be careful though, with some children, like my middle daughter, giving her a drink often means that 20 minutes later you get, can we stop for the toilet? When you're giving them snacks, you might give them some snacks to go in their backpack or in the back of the car, and you might keep some in the front. Again, thinking about my children, if I give some of them sweets, the oldest one, the youngest one, they would be gone before you even get out the main street here, and you will know exactly what I'm talking about. So give them some snacks that they can access themselves and keep some at the front to make sure that they don't run out too soon. Tip number 3. Plan out your stops. If you're going on a long journey, you need to consider how often are you going to stop. Again, that will depend on your children. Last year we went on a trip down to Dover with our caravan. It was the best part of 7 hours. So we stopped about halfway, which is about 3.5 hours away from the start. This year we're going to have to consider things slightly different if we're allowed to go to France, because our youngest Olivia won't have her pull-up on, so we'll have to consider stopping more often. I actually think it's a good idea, particularly if you've got a caravan or a motorhome or a trailer on the back, to plan exactly where you're going to stop and maybe plan some extra stops just in case you need to take extra break stops with your children for whatever reason. Number 4. Even though it's all about electronic device for children these days, you can still play the old-fashioned games that we would have played as a child in the car. Maybe you play I Spy, Curly-Cur. No, but seriously, maybe you play I Spy, or maybe you play count a certain number of cars, or for us it's count the number of caravans, or other games that you can play with them in the car to keep them occupied. Number 5 is about having some electronic devices in your car. And it might be that you don't like your children overly using electronic devices, but I find that when you go on a long journey, you don't want the stress of your children getting agitated and getting bored as you're trying to drive your car, particularly like for us with a large caravan in the back. So we will take with us a tablet for each of the children. We have a DVD player that can plug into the cigarette socket, so if their tablets die, they've still got that. The 2 older children also have a Nintendo DS with them. You might have other devices that work well in the car, and it just means that you know for a reasonable period of time that they're going to be occupied, they're going to be entertained, they're going to be happy, and that you can get on the drive in your car and you can do that safely and less stress for you and your children. Our last tip, tip number 6, is about if you have older children, give them a little bit of responsibility to pack their own backpack. They'll decide what they want to take. I would obviously advise that once they've got their backpack packed, just to check what's in there, because our middle daughter often brings a backpack that's twice her weight. She tried to bring everything, including the kitchen sink. So just check what they've got and make sure that it's suitable. So things that our daughters normally bring in their backpack are things like activity books, sticker books, colouring in books, possibly a reading book if it doesn't affect your child too much, other little toys and things from home that just keeps them occupied, maybe even like a fidget spinner, just to keep them occupied, that when they're bored they can make an independent decision on something that they can play with or they can do while maybe you're busy for whatever reason.
This is my bag, what I use for very long journeys. Here are some of these things what I use. My tablet, my phone if I need it, my Harry Potter book, my DS, my headphones, and Harry Potter pencil and pen wands, and my eye mask.
For more videos on our longest ever journey down to Dover, which took us 8 hours with the caravan in the back, then please click here in the bottom left. And if you want more videos for our channel, please click here in the top right.